In this video, we will go over some of the basic tools of Mimio. First off, here you see we have all of our different tools. We have the selector tool, our pen and brush tool. One thing I would like you to note is anytime you see this little triangle in the bottom corner, that means there are other hidden tools underneath. To access these tools, simply hold down your mouse and the menu should pop up. We also have a highlighter, a text box tool, a fill tool, line tool, color picker, eraser, shape, shape recognition, and dotted lines. We will take a look at how each of those work. Before we do that though, I would like to talk a little bit about the basic tool menu. Right now you see it's here, easy access. There are a couple different things we can do with it. Sometimes it's kind of big, it's in the way. An easy way to collapse it but still have easy access is if you double click here on the paintbrush. Now it's hidden, smaller, not so much in the way. You need it back to get a different tool, simply double click on it again. If for some reason you accidentally close it, you see here the shortcuts. So I can just do a simple Control T and I will have my toolbar back. So our first tool, the selector tool. You'll use this tool anytime you or your students need to move something around. Here you can see from the basic lesson that we would be grouping the pictures into color categories. So I need to go and make sure that my selector tool is chosen, and then I can drag the different pictures into the correct category. So that is how the selector tool works. Next we have our line tool. Your line tool is going to be hidden under this square, the rectangle, or whatever shape you last used. So I will go here, get my lines. Notice that I have a line and lines with arrows. For this activity, we will simply use the line. So I'll draw a basic line first, match up my G's. Works just like this. There's a couple different things we can do with the line tool. First, you can change the color. Over here you see right now my line is purple. Maybe let's make it blue. And then maybe we don't want just a regular straight line. Here are your line style options. You hold that down, you see we have three options: solid, dash, square dot. So I'm going to choose dash. And now I'll go ahead and match up my F. Okay, we'll go ahead and take a look at our last line option, square dot. And then one other option you have is making your line thicker. You do that here by using the little arrow, and you can slide it whichever way. So I'll make this a fairly thick line, and I'll match up my eye. So those are your various options when using the line tool. With this activity, we would want the student to use the pen, and they will be circling the letter that the object starts with. This activity also includes sound. So you would need to have your selector tool, click on the picture so they can hear the sound.
Turtle.
So we know that that is a turtle. They would then go and choose their pen or brush tool and circle the letter that turtle begins with. So that is one way that your students could use the pen button. Next we have our text tool. So here we have different pictures. We're simply wanting your student to fill in the missing letter. So they would use the T for text. They go ahead and draw in a text box, and then they would want to type in the letter that is missing. So for this one, it's D for dot. Notice that it's small. This is just my default font. The last time that I used it, I had this small font. You may wish for them to highlight it, make it more the right size so that it fits in there, or simply just have them drag it down so they can see D for dog. Okay, now we're going to look at the shape tool and dotted lines a little bit more. So now our shape tool is here underneath our line simply because that's the last tool we used. So you see we have several choices for our shapes. This time I'm going to choose a triangle. And I'm going to go ahead and just draw a simple triangle on here. Now there's several things to look at here. We're going to look at the color choices. How did this happen? You see here my blue is my front color. That is the color of my line. My red is the back color, so that's your background color, your shape color. And we have the dotted line. If you remember in our last activity, the dotted line was the last one that I used. So if you would like to change that, I'm going to go ahead and let's say this time we're going to draw a hexagon. And I want my outline to be green, my background color to be yellow, and my line, let's just do a solid line. So now, go ahead and draw my shape, and there you go. Also, you'll notice that the size of your outline is going to depend on where you have the selector here. So if I make it thinner, draw another shape, same shape, just a thinner outline. Okay, our next tool we will look at here is the shape recognition. You can use this if you are simply freehanding a shape and you wish it to look more uniform. So to do that, it's going to be under our shape tool again. Come down to the bottom, choose shape recognition. We'll go ahead and draw a circle on here. And then it nice and uniformly change that to a circle that looks a lot better than my freehand drawing. Once again, we have the same color options, same line options, just like when you were just simply using the shape tool. This is an easy way if you have your kids practice drawing shapes. You know they're a little shaky, it doesn't always look nice. This is a great tool to go ahead and use with them. Next we have our color picker. I call the color picker looks like an eyedropper. So it's right here. So you would use the color picker if you had a color in mind you wanted to use, but you didn't remember where it was that you found it on the color palette. So for this example, I'm going to go ahead and say, oh, I like that purple, I want to use it. So now you see I have my eyedropper over the purple. I'm just going to click. It has now chosen that color for me. Sometimes you have to do it a couple times because we need to choose our color and then have it go turn into the paint bucket. So try one more time here. Eyedropper. Okay, now I have my paint bucket, so now I can fill. So I'm just going to come and say I want to fill in the shape with the purple color. It's that simple. So now I found that color, I didn't have to look through all my color palette, and it matches exactly. The next tool is the fixed aspect ratio. You would want to use this when putting in a picture and you want it to stay in proportion. So I'm going to go ahead and get my selector tool. I'm going to click on my picture. So right now if we come up to format and fixed aspect ratio, you can see that I have this darker chain link. That means it's on. So I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like when I have that on. I can move it, resize it any shape I want, and it stays in proportion. If we didn't have that on, and you go to change it, you could distort it, do anything that you want. So the fixed aspect ratio really helps your picture just stay looking nice, staying everything in perspective. Our next tool is the text recognition. So with this, maybe your handwriting is a little sloppy, your student's handwriting is a little sloppy. They can use the pen tool, write something on the screen. Then for the text recognition tool to work, I'm going to go ahead and get my selector, highlight over that so that it's chosen, it has a box around it, and now I will come up to Tools and Recognize Text. There you see, it went ahead and resized it. It works fairly well with cursive, as I'll show you up here. Same thing, I chose that, recognize my text. So this is a great tool, like I said, to kind of help get the handwriting a little bit more readable and still allowing the students to use their own handwriting. Okay, just a few final things here. When we save our Mimio Studio notebook files, the default saving file is an ink file. This is great, but you can only open these types of files if you have Mimio Notebook installed on your computer. We have several other formats that we can use to save our document using our Mimio Studio. You see the whole list right here. The most common one that you might want to use to save would be the Acrobat PDF. This is a very universal file. Basically anybody should be able to open this. So to do that, if we went up to File, Save As, and then here in my Save As type, that's where you have your choices. So as you see, the default is the ink, and then we have our several other options here. So that is how you can choose what type of file you would like to save your Mimio as. Our very final thing that you will find useful is Mimio Connect. To sign up for this, you simply go to mimioconnect.com, and right here you see the member login information. If you haven't signed up yet, go ahead and click Not a Member. Simple form, sign up for you, they'll send you back a confirmation email. One thing I will warn you of is that a lot of times our spam filter will catch that, so if you know you've signed up and you're still waiting for that confirmation email, please feel free to come and talk to me and I will help you retrieve that email. Hope that this is helpful. Thanks.